Right, hello guys and welcome back. The heavy metal event has returned to us once again and is the final piece of content before Ash and Iron drops next week, and alongside it came an improved offering of loot compared to its first iteration in episode Heresy, featuring two brand new weapons, one of which is an entirely new weapon frame as well. But that being said, at least to me, heavy metal is fun for around an hour before it starts to get a little repetitive. So today I'm going to provide you with my honest opinion on whether it's worth chasing the two new weapons, which are Synanceia, a solar waveframe sword, and Trachinus, a Stasis first of its kind rapid-fire slug shotgun, because the only place they drop is the heavy metal mode, as well as any other event-exclusive cosmetics and loot. And speaking of exclusives, you can drop by my Twitch during any time this week and earn yourself the Mad Dog emblem by watching for 1 hour while I'm live. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. And if you enjoy this type of content, then a like and subscribe is greatly appreciated. First up, let's cover some of the more general cosmetics and loot you can acquire from the event. But even before that, if you do decide to grind heavy metal after watching this video, then please be sure to launch it from the event home or in the PvP portal menu, and not the tower, because if you do it from the tower, you won't get any of the new loot on match completion and instead get blue and legendary gear from the Red War. Great job on this one, Bungie. Side note, apparently this has been fixed now, but you can't be too careful. Besides that, from rank 1 there is a new hollow chip which gives you devil horns and a tail, and from rank 5 there's a pretty nice emblem up for grabs too. Getting into the weapons now, the first one we're starting with is Synanceia. Synanceia is a solar waveframe sword, which does make it the first of its kind, and it also has some pretty interesting perks to boot. Plus, the holofoil version does also look quite nice. It comes with either the Tenacity or Hake Breach armaments origin traits, which aren't the greatest selection to be perfectly honest, but Tenacity is at least okay, where each kill gives you a stack of Tenacity up to a maximum of 20, where you'll gain a 10% damage boost. Besides that though, the main draw for this sword is the fact that it's the first one since Falling Guillotine to once again receive the Eager Edge perk, which is a pretty big deal, especially since Synanceia is a featured weapon, meaning you can use it in activities that have the avant-garde modifier, as well as it having access to volatile mods like Temporal Blast. Eager Edge functions the same on this sword as it does for any other except the heavy attack, where nothing changes. It's simply the nature of a waveframe sword to behave this way, and I do not believe the follow-up homing strike is affected by Eager either. As a consequence of this, I would advise against trying to sword skate with the heavy attack because it won't send you far at all. However, you can still use the light attack to skate, it's just that it won't be as powerful compared to heavy skating with vortex frame swords like Falling Guillotine. So if you enjoy having swords for movement, then I would indeed recommend grabbing one with Eager Edge purely for the flexibility it offers due to it being new gear. Besides movement, this sword also has some pretty good perks with regards to damage and utility. Taking a look at the left column, we have perks like Relentless Strikes, Attrition Orbs, and Sharp Harvest, and in the right we have Surrounded and Elemental Honing for potential top contenders, meaning that technically Synanceia is indeed the best DPS sword there is right now if you take the combo of Relentless Strikes and Elemental Honing paired with Temporal Blast, making this sword essentially a better version of the Aurora Dawn since it cannot get any decent sustained perks in the left. However, swords haven't been meta for damage in quite some time, and the only place where they are is Crota's End, which doesn't currently offer any tiered or featured gear. So my recommendation, only go for this sword if you want a nice and shiny new gear movement option. Forget using it for damage, it's purely meant for utility. Trachinus is the second weapon and is in my opinion at least slightly more interesting, mainly because A, it's a brand new frame with it being a Stasis rapid fire slug frame, and B, as a result it outputs some rather impressive DPS numbers. So let's break it down. This new shotgun frame is a variant of the slugs where it fires one high damage bullet, but with the key difference being the rate of fire, where by default it sits at 90 RPM, which is already faster than the fastest possible regular slug with Assault Mag, putting them at 70 RPM. And as you can see here in this side-by-side comparison, it's very clear that the new frame fires noticeably faster. What's even crazier is that Trachinus also gets access to Assault Mag, which usually only increases the RPM by 5, but on this new frame it increases the RPM by 50. Yes, 50, putting it all the way up to 140 RPM, which is the exact same as a rapid-fire pellet frame like the Ikelos shotgun. Again, comparing an Assault Mag Trachinus to a standard slug, the difference is night and day, which as you can imagine leads to some interesting damage scenarios. So taking a look at the perks, the left column unfortunately leaves quite a lot to be desired, with the best option being Lead from Gold because there is no sighting of any ammo, reload, or sustain perks like Envious Arsenal, Reconstruction, Overflow, or 4th times the charm / rewind rounds. However, the right column does at least make up for this. In here we have Precision Instrument and, more surprisingly, Chill Clip. As of the making of this video, this is the first time we're seeing Chill Clip on a shotgun, and I'm pleased to inform you that it only takes takes 2 shots to freeze a target. And yes, it will perform any chocolate related synergies like stunning overload champions, providing a darkness debuff for things like Facet of Courage, or activating the temporal loader mod, giving you a slightly bigger magazine to dump with. That being said though, I view this shotgun as more of a damage dealing powerhouse than a utility booster, so I for one would not recommend running with chocolate because it isn't really needed here. Speaking of damage though, this is where things start to really get interesting. This shotgun, as a result of it being a slug, takes only 2 shots to prime temporal blast, meaning that across a mag size of 7 with assault mag, you'll receive 2 procs of the mod, and if you have the optimal damage combo of assault mag and precision instrument, the DPS is pretty bloody good. I got a tier 4 drop with assault mag and precision instrument, which gives a 1 mag DPS value of 2,942, and to add some context, a tier 4 mint retrograde rocket pulse with bait and switch with a magazine size of 5 has a DPS value of around 1,642. So as far as 1 mag dump options go, this new shotgun isn't bad at all really. However, where it does fall off is exactly there. It's only really fit for 1 mag dumping because, as I mentioned, it doesn't get any perks in the left column like overflow, envious arsenal, or rewind rounds to sustain the magazine beyond its default size. That said though, you can circumvent this via things like hunter dodges, and under the right conditions, a damage rotation featuring Trachinus can actually output some serious damage. The next clip you're about to watch involves me on my hunter using speed loader slacks to constantly regenerate my dodge energy, which ends up facilitating very frequent reloads. Please take a look. There we go. Nice. So yeah, that damage is pretty decent overall, and I can only imagine it would also be suitable in other places. Korgos Final Stand comes to mind, but I will admit it is somewhat niche, so if you don't think you'll ever see yourself using this shotgun for DPS, then I would definitely think twice about getting one. Overall, circling back to the title of the video, I do believe that the loot from Heavy Metal is worth it to some extent, and bare minimum, if you're an active player, you should at least try and get yourself a Synanceia with Eager Edge for movement and utility purposes. But with regards to the shotgun, despite the damage being pretty decent overall, it sadly does live in the same slot as the Rocket Pulse, which for many people is a good reason to not bother farming for it, which I totally understand, but if you've got some spare time and sanity on your hands, then do try to get at least a roll with Assault Mag in the rare case it might be needed somewhere far off in the future. With that, I hope you enjoyed watching today's video, and do let me know in the comments if you like this style of video where I give my take on whether an event is worth farming. It's a sort of new video style I'm trying here, so any feedback is welcome. Also, if you made it this far in the video, then be sure to like and subscribe, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and so on and so on. Your support is always appreciated. Anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, dear viewer.